Hello and welcome to the Audacity Factor. I'm the founder and host here, Catherine Daw, also creator of the Audacity Factor community on Patreon. I would love for you to join us if you're interested in any kind of personal growth, personal development, a source of being able to tap into your courage, and a community to help you help support you in that. I encourage you to join us there. You can join for free. There are resources for you, even at the free level. There are also 2 paid levels, and there are descriptions of what you are offered at those paid levels as well. So I encourage you to check it out. There'll be a link in the description below, and also there will briefly be a QR code right up here, and you know what to do with that. So today I want to just talk a little bit about, I just got finished with some our weekly guidance for the patron level membership in our Patreon community. And one of the messages is about experimentation. You've heard me talk about this before. It's something I believe in as an artist, as a creator, as a writer, as a speaker. I always like to engage in experimentation. And to be able to allow yourself to truly experiment with something, you have to disengage from your judgment, from your expectations, from the should be's, the supposed to be's. It's supposed to be something specific. It should be something specific, and allow yourself the freedom to play with what you're doing. And so one of the cards that I pulled for the group this morning was the experiment. Now I'm going to show you that card. I don't know if I can even get this camera to show it. There we go. Um, when as an artist, for me, I've been able to step outside the bounds of my classical traditional training because I felt that I wanted to expand my experience in a way that allowed me freedom. I used to teach a class called Color Painting Outside the Lines. And this was a class I taught at for about 3 years at our local art center up in Pennsylvania. And it was really about undoing the training that we get when we're young in like the coloring book technique. And remember, we were supposed to stay inside the lines. And not only that, but some people took it to a level where they outlined the outline, and then everything was supposed to be perfect. And so, you know, so we learn from a very young age to, number one, to not just compartmentalize, but to keep things in that compartment, and heaven forbid you overflow into another compartment. Not only that, we learn this really hard, stringent boundary, and that you're good and you're do a really good job in the coloring book if you follow that. Remember when you first started coloring, we were all scribbling all over. It didn't matter. All we wanted to do was scribble, put the whatever color we picked and see what it did, and without any kind of expectation or need to perform in some particular way, because that's really what it was. We learned to perform for our parents, our family, whoever it was that we were around as children. So my goal in when I taught that class was to undo that so that people can actually tap into what their own personal creativity was, is. So I know it took them some time to be able to. So one of the first guidelines in that class was no outlining. We're not outlining anything. I would set them up just a simple still life, some fruit, a bowl, the basic kind of stuff, some shapes, pieces of wood, that kind of thing, and say, okay, now I want you to approach this, but not outline anything. So that really had them stumped because they didn't know what to do with that kind of freedom. So right now in your life, where are you fitting yourself, forcing yourself to fit into this coloring book technique or persona? Is that aligned for your persona at all? I know for me, it's not. Some areas now, when it comes to organizing my kitchen, or my refrigerator, my cabinets, that kind of thing, I like things put in their place so that I know where everything is. However, when it comes to creative expression and experimentation, I encourage you to drop the coloring book technique. Now, I've written a post about this as well. It's called Living Outside the Lines, and it's really the same thing. So I encourage you to live outside your lines. Where are you stifling yourself because you feel like you have to have this sharply defined box that you're supposed to be in, or you're trained to be in, you're conditioned to be in, that you really don't want to be in? I know that was totally for me. I did not want somebody putting me in a box. And one of the most interesting things I've found relationally around this was that there are people that will be drawn to you because you're exciting, because they find it exciting. They find it daring that you go out, you're willing to take chances, and you maybe have this level of fearlessness. But however, when you become engaged in a relationship with them, then they want to control it, and they don't want to feel afraid because of your fearlessness, so then they try to control you. It's a dynamic I've been engaged in, led me to abuse, um, for sure, and it was oddly enough difficult to escape after another level of training, another layer of training, training, conditioning, and not in a good way whatsoever. So I encourage you to, what would it take for you to allow yourself the permission to experiment without boundaries, without expectations, without judgment? Because I guarantee you will gain some of the best and most clear insights and action steps that are based on those insights when you can allow yourself to do that. Don't allow yourself to be in the churn of the dynamics of the chaos and the confusion and the doubts that can come along with keeping yourself mired in the past, and maybe past things you haven't finished, past mistakes, past, I don't like to use the word failure because it's really just something that didn't work, past things that didn't work. I encourage you to start again, knowing that you are not the same person that you were then. And you can do it all differently now if you want to. You get to choose every single day. Don't allow yourself to be stuck back in the bog of trying to sift through all the debris that can come up from your past. The more we sit and ruminate and breathe life into the past, the more time we take away from the present and any insights that we can possibly gain about what to do going forward and how we want our life to be. None of us really want to sit and ruminate in the past. The past is over. It doesn't matter. And I don't want to undervalue your experiences. However, we can't live there because we will remain the victim when we do. And that doesn't move us forward at all. Trying to breathe life into the past, into something that is no longer, just keeps you stuck and in the struggle and resisting the present moment and any kind of movement forward for you. Wouldn't you rather breathe life into what you want instead of what you don't want? Give yourself permission to do that. Make it a practice every day for yourself. I encourage you to do that because, when we do that, we are able to tap into really the power that we all innately have that we're not using. That's really all it is. It's like my car that's sitting out there, but the car doesn't do anything. It just sits out there until I do something with the car. Till I go out there, start the car, drive it wherever I'm going to drive it, right? It's a tool for me, but I have to engage the tool. You have to be able to engage the tool of that is experimentation, that really is going to, it's not only going to stir the pot, but it's going to guide you to dishes that you didn't even know you liked or wanted. And it could be cooking, it could be the thing for you. Cooking is one I've found one of the greatest places to start. Art, always, any type of creativity. It could be rearranging your house. This is something my sister and I have done our entire lives because it changes the feeling, it changes the energy, it allows you to recognize possibilities where you hadn't seen any before. So any kind of experiment, all it could be is that, okay, well, you know what, I don't like it that way, I'm going to move it back, or it'll give you another insight to try something else. You know, and even when it comes to, again, moving furniture around, you can move pieces from room to room as well. Yes, it can be an undertaking, absolutely, but I challenge you to start with one area that's manageable. Like here, when I moved in to this house with my now husband, we started with the porch, the back porch. It wasn't as threatening for him, but that porch now has been through like 4 different iterations because he and we kept coming up with these different ideas to make it even better. So now we have this fabulous back porch that if you saw photos of where it started, you would say, what? Was that really even possible out there? Well, it was, I tell you, it was. And, but you know, we can get trapped in idealizing what we think our life is supposed to be, what we think, whatever age we are, what our life should have been or is supposed to be, or, you know, we judge ourselves, shame ourselves. And, you know, well, here I am, I'm wearing Colette Baron Reid's Woo Crew shirt. Well, you know what? I love some woo. Absolutely love it because, you know, it gives you this sense of welcoming in spontaneity, welcoming in synchronicity, welcoming. It's really an opening and a welcoming in, giving yourself permission to really be open to something different coming from somewhere else, because we all need input from different sources, or we can get trapped in a particular mindset, in a particular way of being, in a particular series of beliefs. So I encourage you to challenge all of that, even if it's one piece at a time. You know, could be your wardrobe, it could be your food, it could be some level of creativity, it could be your job, it could be your friends. You know, that's one thing I realized over the years, that I chose my friends and I did not do so quite mindfully or carefully. It was always from a place of kind of flying by the seat of my pants um, over the years, and not really considering it a little more intentionally. As I've become an adult, I've learned to do that. And it can be difficult and challenging, absolutely. However, I encourage you to even just take a look, experiment with the idea of it. You have to be willing to be willing. That's kind of where you start. What's something that you can start with today to challenge the way you've always done? And if you're finding yourself, well, we've always done it this way, I challenge you right there to do something different. That is a tap on the shoulders, a wake-up call when you find yourself doing that. Not that it's not okay to have some traditions, because there are certain traditions too that I kind of carry through, but I'm also very flexible around them as well. So, and I've, you know, become more so that way as I've gotten older. So flexibility, experimentation, openness, allowing, saying yes. I encourage you to do that this week for yourself. Start today. Start today with one thing. Go rearrange your bathroom or your whatever, your guest room. That's a good place to start if you have one. Or what, your office, what area, whatever it is for you. I encourage you to do that this week. Start today. All right. I'll see you all in the next video.